Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. We received an update today, 3.9 gigabyte update, and I'll tell you what, the first thing I noticed that was different was I got this window that said we had some new aircraft. I'm okay with that. I'm sure a lot more has happened since then. However, I think we need to dive into some of these aircraft, because I'm not sure if these are part of the 4 aircraft that Jorg was talking about that we would get for free or not, or if this is just part of the career advancement that we were supposed to get that we haven't gotten until now. So let's learn what's going on together. I don't particularly know exactly how much I'm going to be able to come up with off of this, but either way, I am going to show you a lot in this video. Today, we got a lot to cover. I've got a lot of questions in the chat and comment section about how to advance to show your search and rescue missions. How to unlock those search and rescue missions is a little bit of a wonky process. Let's get into it. So every time I go into a career, what I want to do first is go into a free flight mode. To do this, the reason I'm doing this is to make sure that the aircraft that I'm loading into, and hopefully this is a bug that they're still working out, I'm getting into this aircraft prior to my missions to make sure that this is configured properly. The one you saw in the first thumbnail was the agriculture, because right now that's how I'm making money. But what we want to be doing right now is to actually do a rescue mission. So I'm going to also check my key bindings with this to make sure that the controls line up before I get to the planet. It does take a while for these keyboard presets, throttle presets, and cyclic presets to load, but for now, this is the process that I'm seeing as being the most efficient to not only make sure that my controls are what I want them to be when I do get into a mission, but also to maybe even prompt the career mode into knowing what mission set you want to go into. This worked for me, and I will put this in giant quotes, italicized and bold-faced font, one time. Once I did this, the planet was populated with so many SAR missions, I didn't know where to go first. Now, a caveat to that is everything leading up to it. See, now you can see here that even though I have a preset, or at least I did, I had a preset for the 125 search and rescue set up. And this is all changing. However, I know that the H225 controls are very close to the H125 controls, and this has the specific 125 controls set to search and rescue. That is okay by me to continue. The aircraft itself is set to a rescue configuration. So now that I know that all of that is in place, I'm going to go ahead and move forward, or should I say backwards, to the menu where I can then get into my career. Now when I go into the career mode, you're going to see that I've come a long way in a very short amount of time. As you all know, I've had to restart my career from scratch. Wasn't happy about it, but in a very short amount of time, I've unlocked 11 certifications, 11 specializations, and you can see these little sun tags in both specializations and missions. I am unlocking things very quickly. The way I did this is to actually dive a little bit further into the left side of our spider web. You can see that I've got the commercial pilot's license for the airplane, high performance endorsement, multi-engine rating, instrument rating, jet engine rating. And the airline transport pilot airplane is also something that I have paid for, but I've yet to complete. And on the other side of the spectrum, you can see that for the helicopter side of the career mode, which is what we're here to do, I have unlocked everything except the power lift rating because, frankly, I'm not flying any rotorcraft, such as drones or any of those rotating rotorcraft that they have in Sim. I want to do search and rescue, so I've unlocked everything on that side. Everything is green and good to go. I've been making a pretty good amount of money doing this. As you can see in the upper right hand corner here, we've got money. Money, money, money. Not a lot. 52, it's not a lot. However, I've had to spend some money to get those certifications and specializations, and now let's see what's on the planet waiting for me. Again, I've said that by doing this process, I've come across a lot of new things. Not only did this just pop up and say that a new specialization is available, but you also saw that when we came in, we had new aircraft available. Things are changing. Things are changing dramatically. These scientific missions are actually pretty awesome. You do get to see the tornadoes, you get to fly around some extremely windy conditions. Not exactly overly challenging, but very cool as far as visuals go. I had a pretty good time with it, not gonna lie. So as we dive into this, you're going to see that there is not a single search and rescue mission being populated. I'm getting new agricultural, I'm getting all kinds of stuff, up to and including scientific research, way away from my home base. Again, we're in North America, and we have our never, ever, I don't think this mission's ever gonna go away. Masonville. This is still buried in the damn woods. What I think we might do a little bit later on in this stream is actually go after this mission and see if we can't land by this little house. That red roofed house is on a road, and I think I might have enough room to put a helicopter H-125 without a hoist, because why would we use a hoist? But I digress. I'm going to put that helicopter down right by that house. Possibly. But let's see if there's any other missions available around the planet, even with everything I have unlocked with specializations in my career mode. And I can go all the way around the planet, even up into Alaska, all of these zones that Microsoft considers hotspots. I am not seeing, even at this progression, more search and rescue missions. Not even where my new home base is after having to restart my airline. However, at one point, and why it's gone away is just completely baffling to me, there were probably close to 35 search and rescue missions per hotspot. And all of a sudden, it has gone down to a single, almost unflyable search and rescue mission. So as far as I can see, this update that they pushed today hasn't done a single thing to help us acquire the goal that we are all here to accomplish. This is extremely frustrating. However, at the same time, I'm still all in. I'm making pretty good money right now. And to be honest, I've been doing the agricultural flights. In the H-125, it's pretty easy. Sometimes the helicopter's little truck where you have to go and refill is parked so close to the trees that it's very difficult to even continue with that mission, and you just kind of have to risk it. I've been able to successfully land on every refill truck that I've come across so far, and I haven't been doing too bad at it. A lot of ATC dings are still coming through for airports that don't exist. It is extremely frustrating. But I'm going to go back in my headquarters one more time and kind of show you where I was in this process when all of those search and rescue missions came about. So I would come into the specializations, and I would go over to Rotorcraft and just click search and rescue. And then I would click on this, even though it's not anything more than a notification of what your compatible aircraft are. Just, I don't know, because I'm weird like that. And then I would go back. And then I would go back into the missions. And I would play this merry-go-round of button clicks. And at that point, even though it didn't repeat the process this time, doing that, it triggered a ridiculous amount of SAR missions. But you can see that those are no longer available. This is almost specifically agricultural. I've got a lot of the cargo transports. quite a few of the ferry flights, and it seems to be doing this everywhere on the planet. One thing that they've also done is a lot of times these cargo missions are going to be in an aircraft that we don't have any experience in whatsoever, such as one that you just saw there and then vanish. All right, there it is again. It just popped again. This is a cargo transport with hook using the Chinook. I haven't seen these before. Not ever. We're also getting these now VIP missions. Profits are only $47.40. We're using a fixed wing aircraft to get these done, but you can use one of the hacks that we used previously to earn money quickly by using that sim rate increase, sim rate decrease key binding to speed through these flights once an autopilot is set. Go about your business and make sure that you're just getting your ATC calls in when they need to be called, and it's a very easy way to make money as long as you know how to operate and land these aircraft. We are even getting these Airbus missions, again, back out in the middle of the ocean, but they're being shared now with the Chinook. This is an update that was even happening prior to the update that Microsoft pushed earlier today. It is extremely frustrating trying to unlock the search and rescue specifically. I'm curious if when I got to that point when there were a lot of search and rescue tags around the planet, if I should have done just specifically search and rescue for as long as I could have stood it. And I think that's actually kind of where I went wrong. It's almost like I told the sim that I wanted more. So I didn't know what to do at that point. I wanted to make more and more money to be able to buy my own aircraft when I finally do get that brand new airline and we start over from scratch. However, I think that was a mistake because I had unlocked probably nearly 25 to 50, if not more, search and rescue missions at that point. It's extremely frustrating because I had them unlocked. I know everyone is struggling to get to these missions. I did indeed find that I also had just done that one mission up here where you kind of had, I don't know if you saw that video I posted about the worst search and rescue mission. Where you have to land on the ledge and get her off. See, I think this is that same mission all over again, but I'm not sure. But once that mission was done, shortly thereafter, that's when the population of these search and rescue missions just exploded on the planet for me. If anyone out there has seen or had that same experience, let me know. What portion of the sim were you at when that happened? Did you even try to unlock these VIP missions? In your spider web of specializations and certifications and all of that other nonsense that they're forcing us to go through, how far into this process were you when you saw those, if you even did? Because I found out that going to the left into the fixed wing aircraft has actually given me access to a lot more missions. Even the Chinook being included in the hoist, or I should say hook transport cargo, which is an extremely interesting helicopter to fly for those missions because, again, if you've ever flown one of those, it's a fat bottom girl and it's a little bit sloppy in the control systems. So as I kind of go back and forth between these, things change. It seems like every time I go in and out of this, it's a little bit different. And for some reason, the area where my base of operations has the least amount of available missions out of anything. And we're still getting the very first types of missions that we were given in the first place that are only 990 credits. You know what I mean? Why? I just don't understand. This system is truly something that Microsoft and the team need to work on more than absolutely anything. We need to have the hype performance group hyper-focused on what is going on with search and rescue missions in this career mode. Because in my personal opinion, it's kind of pathetic. I shouldn't have to put in this much effort to unlock something that a very large group of their community are after. I have everything that I need. I have the hook endorsement. I have the hoist endorsement. But yet on these maps, I don't even see a hoist mission anywhere. And this is even after their new update. So it's kind of like, what do you do from here? And I can honestly say, I don't know. I don't know what Microsoft is thinking. I don't know what Hype Performance Group, Asobo, or anyone on that team is currently thinking. It doesn't make sense at all. Other than, hey, maybe Microsoft and the team is really putting in so much effort towards their fixed wing crowd that we're just kind of being left in the dust for now. Steph says you have to fast travel to different parts of the map to unlock new missions. Click on a random airport and it will tell you to pay the price to unlock missions in that area. More missions will unlock. Okay, so even if I'm in my base area of operations, I don't want to do it up in Alaska. Let's go back down to my base operations. Let's try what Steph is suggesting here in real time, live. So I'm going to come in and say that I want to go to a different airport. Here's a different airport. Mission list. It's blank. Let's go to a different part. Let's go even closer to my base of operations. We're going to go to, okay, that one's already taken. Where's another airport? Let's see if we can find another airport. Let's try a different part of the globe completely. Let's go somewhere out of the blue. Let's try here. Mission list. Empty. Okay, so now you want me to fast travel. You want me to spend 42,660 credits to get into a different spot to be able to progress further into this mission. So let's see if we do that closer to our base of operations. It won't cost as much, right? So we're going to go into something closer. FMAG, fast travel, still 52,340 credits. Base of operations, 52,040 credits. Let's see where it has me currently. Up in Italy, even though I'm not flying up here, this is not my base of operations even close. I was in the Indian Ocean pretty much. We're going to go to a hospital. Mission list, nothing. You'd think you might be doing a search and rescue mission from a hospital. That could be a base of operations for a SAR company. 28,770 credits just to get there. Now, mind you, I'm not sure, Steph, and you can chime back in on this, but are you already in your own airline, or are you still trying to do this as a freelancer, just building up your money? Because I think that may also play a very big part in this. Here's another one, Brigham. Fast travel. This one doesn't even have a credits list. So let's see what happens if I fast travel here. I can't do anything. I can highlight it, I can click on it, and it doesn't do anything. Let's go to a different one. Let's come away from this. Let's go to let's go to something called a little bit closer to the search and rescue mission that they already have in Sim, because this is where they're generating search and rescue missions. So let's come out here. We're going to come into this little guy. 10,740 credits. Fast travel. I got 5220 to burn, and just for the risk of demonstration, Steph, this 10 grand is for you. I'm going to pay 10,740 credits. There's my guy. This goes out to you. Let's zoom out. I just fast traveled to that area. Absolutely nothing different. I beg to differ. I just spent 10 G's for literally nothing. If I go into this again and say mission list, that list on the left-hand side is completely blank. One mission on the planet. It cost me 10 G's to literally do nothing. I appreciate the suggestion, Steph, but you owe me 10 G's. I'm just kidding. Either way, you see what I'm saying? If that's the experience you had, Steph, did you have that experience as an airline owner, or did you have that experience prior to owning an airliner? Because every search and rescue mission that I have had around the planet, even when I had like the 30, 40 of them around the planet or more, I was still in this mode where I was not an airline owner. Hide the list. We're going to go, see, now it's going to ask me for another 41,000 credits to go back to where I don't even know if that's where I should be. Yep, that's where I should be. Home base. I'm lucky I don't need to pay credits to get here, but I digress. There is nowhere else on the planet where a single mission is generated. Not anywhere. If I go back into the headquarters even further, and let's say the system maybe needs you to know, it's so jacked up. It does not make any sense why I am having such a different experience than you are, Steph. It doesn't make sense. How many certifications do you have? How many specializations do you have? You have 4 companies already, 4 in freelance. To open up in the map, you have to click on the dark areas you have not traveled to as yet. Well, I just did that. There's no difference. And you're also doing this as a company. But I was seeing this many SAR missions on the map without owning a company. Because herein lies the dilemma. In the specializations, in order to unlock the rotorcraft search and rescue hoist, you need to perform 10 search and rescue missions with a rotorcraft. I need 5 more. Now, mind you, I have already passed this point before I had to restart my career. There's a gigantic reason why none of this is working. And it's Hype Performance Group, Asobo, and Microsoft. Update or not, so far, search and rescue missions, helicopters in general, are taking an absolute backseat when it comes to Microsoft. Prove me wrong. Say something different. Show me differently. And the mission, the one mission that they give me, let's try it real time, right now. We're gonna epically go about this in real time, unless you have a different suggestion, Steph. Because again, if I go back out here now, okay, so we know we dropped our person on the planet. He's right here. He's in a spot. He's right here. So it shouldn't cost us too much money to go just outside of that zone. In here, 700 credits. I'll risk it. Why not? Mission list 1, and it's a ferry flight. If I zoom out, look what's changed. Nothing. Not a damn thing. So what you're suggesting, that may work, but it's only going to work when you own your own company. That is the problem. And we're stuck with this mission that is nearly impossible to acquire. When yesterday I had been in the sim for maybe 20 minutes, the same mission was there. The day prior, I was in sim doing streams, and after that, I kept doing my agricultural. And as soon as I was done with about 2 agricultural flights with the chopper, then I saw a plethora of search and rescue missions develop around the planet. And now they're gone. Yes, I've done the cache cleaning. Yes, I did the Microsoft update, of course. And then, if you didn't realize that at the same time, if you're using a PC on Windows, Windows also went through an update as well. A lot of things are being pushed simultaneously, if you didn't know. Let's accept the mission. Let's see if we can do this in real time. I'm pretty sure this is going to be an absolute just dog pile, but we'll see. And if you got 4 companies already, man, I don't know how much you play in the simulator, but boy, I am jealous of how much time you have on your hands, my friend. That is good stuff. I don't know how you got there so quickly. Is there a way that you can use like Xbox credits and just like bank? Because that would be a hell of a workaround for them. And once again, I'm gonna say this until I want to. The key bindings, once again, don't match the aircraft. These are a few of my favorite things. I'll get back into the stupid music references. How about that? H-145 should be the aircraft that we are using here. I know it doesn't make sense, is what Steph is saying, and that's on how Asobo went about this. But I had to spend $100,000 just dedicated to clicking on areas and cities all over the map, and all new missions showed up. 100 G's just to get missions that we're supposed to be given by unlocking. See, these presets in this system is one of the most frustrating pieces of garbage I think I've ever seen in my entire life. And it on top of that, it takes about 6 days for it to load. So again, we're just going to go with my H225. Hopefully that works. I do want to make sure that my throttle bindings at least have some stuff here. So we're going to see we got a quick reply. Oh man, let's see if we have that on the throttle over here. The EFB can come up on the keyboard. I do like to have some ATC controls. See, and here we go with these conflicts automatically regenerating themselves out of nowhere. Man, this crap is just garbage. This is the worst. It's so painful. We're talking about a company that has been around since the damn 80s. Does anyone else have to do this literally every single time they come into their computer? I am so tired of this crap. I mean, I love the simulator, don't get me wrong. I am definitely barking right now. However, for the love, come on. You've made a game, Microsoft. You've made a game and you've failed epically at it. There's no question about it. Maybe it's a different experience for the fixed-wing pilots and they're loving every minute of it, or their problems are far fewer than ours, but and come on, man. Really? You got to spend 100 G's and dedicate that money to roaming around the planet looking for a mission? Is that real world too, or does somebody just pick up the phone and say, hey man, we could use you in Austria today? Do you have any helicopters nearby? It's a game and they failed. Am I in for the ride? Of course. But man, is this painful. I really honestly thought we'd have some great answers for people out there, and I've got a lot of people that have been chiming in and asking questions. You know, there's a list. Not only just people that are asking for help, but people that are joining in the conversation like you, Steph, that really are helping out. You know, like VKPAH. We got our good man Avalock Emery's, Willem Guitar, Bird Droppings 32, WTB 64383. We got Magnus, Waxy, Merlin, Random Gen X guy. We got Chris Steele. I mean, there's so many people out here that are in the same position. And it's a shame. It's rough. So when you're getting those new missions that show up, are you actually able to accomplish those missions, Steph? Are they in areas where you're able to land and actually perform a full search and rescue? Or are they more of these missions like we're about to go into, where they're just buried deep in the forest and there's no chance of rescue? When I did have a bunch populated on the planet, a lot of them were in the snowy mountains, and they were in areas that were reachable. It was actually kind of an enjoyable experience for a minute. But that is not the case anymore. It's frustrating. And a simulator that is, you know, for a hobbyist like myself, or even a pilot who's just, you know, doing this in his downtime, or maybe after he's retired. This has got to be one of the most frustrating things that they've ever done. Will it get better over time? Of course. Or at least I hope. If they can't fix the problems where these missions are being generated in the middle of nowhere, we got issues that are bigger than what I'm talking about. We're given an H-125 without an SAS system in it. We've got real world HEMS pilots chiming in to say that this is the wrong variant of the helicopter to have trim. They gave us a helicopter that isn't even capable of being trimmed to do search and rescue missions in the mountains over trees. What? Do you want us to do a cargo hoist mission in the trees without trim? It should be embarrassing for Microsoft, Asobo, and the entire team. This should be embarrassing. I know I'm being super critical, but at the same time, we're talking about Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's a reputation behind that name. How many awards have they won for the best simulator of the year? Will they pull it off again? I honestly hope not. I think that would be tragic. Is the world fantastic? Absolutely. What they've done to the biomes and the atmospherics, absolutely fantastic. Don't get me wrong. There are some things about this simulator that are astonishing. It's fantastic, the technology that they're putting into this. But at the same time, they paid so much attention to that portion of the simulator. Or should I say game? That everything else took a backseat, and they rushed the living daylights out of it and their initial publicity and feedback is this thing is broken. How many times did Jorg apologize in that last dev stream? I digress. On a different note, what I'd like to do is give a little bit of a opportunity for all of us to get together and just kind of celebrate helicopters and flight inside of this simulator, and I'd like to try to schedule a fly-in. Grab your choppers, whatever it may be, and we'll put together a fly-in. I'm going to try to stay streaming as long as I can, and probably within the next couple of days I'd like to get that done and just get a bunch of us in a live stream flying together anywhere on the planet. You guys can vote on where you want to fly, or I can come up with a flight plan and see what you guys think about it, and we'll talk about it as we get closer to the free fly-in. I think it's going to be fun. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. We'll see, but I think it'd be fun. I think we should all get together and just share a little bit of flight time outside of career mode, taking a break from this nonsense. And again, since I'm here, we're going to go into the exterior mode, and I am going to use my sim increase, sim decrease. If you don't know what sim rate increase and sim rate decrease are, it is a speedometer increaser. It's a time machine. It doesn't affect anything other than how long it takes you to get from point A to point B. Difficult to fly and keep control of the helicopter? Absolutely. However, you can even pause this and come right back into real time by going as down in speed as many times you can, and then going back up in speed 4 times, and you're back in real time. Handy little trick right there. If you didn't know, now you know. One thing that I've found out about these missions, again, is that if you kind of follow that circular pattern around these search areas, you'll kind of wind up getting that smoke to respond to your presence a little bit quicker. Ace is saying, I watched a video on this SAR. I had to try it a few times before I realized I had to land just to the right of the smoke. Okay. Just to the right of the smoke. Well, once we pop smoke, we're going to see which direction right is. Was it by that red roofed house, or was it more just in the woods? Was that the video I put out, or was that a different streamer? Because I think this is a different mission from the one that I had pulled out about the impossible mountain rescue. I see a red roof down there, but I'm not sure if that's the one we're looking for or not. It's close. I don't think that's it, though. Facing the slope. Okay. All right. See another red roof down below. Still no signs of smoke. Let's cut that back in towards the center a bit. So frustrating. And I've gone back and forth through these missions several times, and I know where that survivor is. So, Steph, the great question. I have, in the past, owned my own search and rescue company. However, in the process of owning that company, I had the premium insurance and experienced a little bit of a glitch in the matrix with that gem of a piece of software. And they were charging me insurance when I wasn't even in sim for about 3 days. And my company took a hit of nearly $1 million. And at that point, I decided to pull the plug on that company and start fresh. And I have already achieved a higher level of specialization and certification than I had when I had that company. By quite a bit. Even my level as a pilot is something like it's 71 right now, and I think when I reset my career and did a complete uninstall of the simulator to get rid of some of the garbage stuff that I was given when I initially downloaded the sim at launch, cleared the cache, updated the graphics driver, updated Microsoft, Windows, all of it. Yeah. It has been a complete nightmare. I've had that before. Okay, but at that time, you didn't have a company. Now you do. Okay, cool. I think I see smoke. Nope, another red roof. Wouldn't you know? Okay. I'm going to go right back towards the center here and see if we can come up with something. Not sure what's going to happen. Yeah, I've had my own company before. Thought it was doing quite well. And then I stopped playing and went broke. Wouldn't you know, work had to be done. I had to make a living of my own. Couldn't play in the simulator game, quote unquote, for a few days. And I did have my crew and aircraft in an off configuration per their requirement. There's another red roof. I think we're kind of over them right now. That's the road we were talking about landing on, but your LZ, you're saying, is even closer to the survivor, which should be tucked in right here somewhere, according to this map and where everything was prior to launching the mission. Yet we still don't have anybody popping smoke. Which brings up another point. A lot of those searching missions that I went through, I had to abandon because after 35 minutes of flying over the area at a very low speed, multiple different search and rescue patterns scouring the planet, smoke was absolutely never popped. No, the mission never progressed, and it was like I'm literally just out here flying, wasting time right now. Nobody popped smoke at all. With an excessive amount of searching time directly over the area where they said that the survivor would be. If this is the mission, it's up in the 10 or 11 o'clock of the circle. So of this circle, the 10 or 11 o'clock. Let's do that sim rate increase. Let's check it out. The face is right, we'll get there quicker. If we can get this thing to turn without too much of an issue. The sim rate increase, sim rate decrease makes this quite difficult to control. So here we go with the ridge where I'm thinking your survivor might be. Maybe just off in that area here a little bit, or on the other side of this ridge, because you were talking about the slope. I do know that there is a pretty good delay between what I see smoke directly below. There we go. I do see the slope. Let's get my EFB off. Let's go ahead and get in cockpit and make sure we tell them where we go. All right. So let's survey this area right here and see if there is a spot feasible to land. I do also get a lot of questions about how I'm able to keep the chopper so steady, and that is honestly just a very good balance in the settings and curves that I have for my controllers. So, what I see is kind of the same mission that I had prior, where I kind of had to park on this almost cliff, just nosing in the chopper. So yeah, this looks exactly like the mission that I had done prior, the impossible search and rescue in the mountains, whatever I called it. Because there is nothing. Yeah, this one is different. This is the one that I've done this before. I've actually streamed this rescue before. So what's going to happen is there's a spot on the cliffside over here, and there's more trees in this area now than there were before. This looks like a duplicate of that location, even though I'm pretty sure that that first search and rescue mission was in the Canadian hills. To me, this scene and this dense forest looks identical to the one that was happening in Canada. You just have to hover close. You can't land. You have to land. So you can see in the upper left-hand corner, it says mission steps. I'm hovering directly over my survivor at this point, and I've been here for a minute. I am not too far off the trees. And that mission step says land close to target. And it needs you to touch the skids of the helicopter to the ground for X amount of time before it triggers a cutscene of you getting out of the helicopter to retrieve your survivor. Then the two of you walk back and you're able to take off. I could come into a lower hover over the trees, and I am pretty confident in saying that if I hover even just right on top of these trees, directly over the survivor, I could sit here for 4 days. And the only thing it's going to tell me is that a call is going to come from me to our base that says, we found them, we're planning to land. Again, they are directly underneath my aircraft. I'm sitting treetop. I could sit here for hours. It's not going to do anything. I promise. It needs your skids to touch the ground. If I had a hoist on this aircraft, I could sit in this stable little hover right now and move just a little bit forward and drop somebody in these trees rather successfully, or maybe find a spot that's slightly more clear than these. But I'm not given the choice of a hoist just yet. That's a tongue twister. Choice of a hoist. But I could do this for days, bro. Not gonna do nothing. It needs you to touch the ground. And it needs to be within a certain distance from the survivor. If you're too far outside of their acceptable bubble, it doesn't trigger the cutscene. You can't even walk there. So what I've had to do in the past is kind of on this ledge, because there's nowhere else around here close enough to the survivor to land. Even this little spot that's coming into view, well, let's put it in a different spot. So if I come back just a little bit, this is a very difficult angle to fly in, FYI. So there is a little bit more of a clearing just behind my tail at this point. Try getting closer. Do you want me to like land in the trees? I've done that before. It crashes and then it throws me up to 1,500 feet and makes me start over and just nose dive down. What search and rescue helicopter lands to get their patients? And you're going to laugh out loud about that. No offense here, my man, but have you ever watched Coast Guard Alaska or anything along those lines? I can tell you that a landing for search and rescue is the safest mode of operations when it comes to this. As long as you have a safe area to land, it is the best choice a pilot and crew can make. As long as the conditions for that landing are safe. You're not going to have debris going up into the rotors. You have enough room for your rotor arc. All of that matters. But if that opportunity presents itself to land, that is the choice that they are going to make. I dare you to watch Alaska's search and rescue missions. It's their first choice if they can. Even when they do it in Florida, in the Columbia River Bar, in those instances, yeah, a lot of the times those missions are going to be done with a hoist or a diver. During the day, they can actually do a deployment direct to the water by jumping out. You know, but that's a water rescue. If they have the chance to land, they're going to. It's the safest way to conduct that mission. And I know I have follows out there that can back me up on that. So when those areas aren't suitable, they bring a hoist. If they don't bring a hoist, they land somewhere and let their crew out and they walk to the patient. So over here, if I were to come over into this location just a little bit more to the right, this is going to be much further out of the way, because this is even a safer place to land than that ledge to my left. Right? Even though this is pretty steep, I could probably squeeze a rotor arc just on this ledge. But there isn't a pilot on this planet that would choose this as an LZ. It's too dense. There's too much risk involved. You're going to call in a coordinate and be like, listen, we need to find another way to get in here, or I need to deploy somebody via hoist into this location, and then they can hike to the survivor. And they're still going to call this a simulator. I'm sorry. Not yet. Not yet. So I could tow in right here. Okay, so technically, crash, right? It's impossible. And here we go again. They just dump you off at 2,000 feet in the air. Like, yep, that's where you should be right now. And this is realistic. Yeah, I'm gonna go upside down and inverted in a 125 and be able to pull out of it. Tell me we're not playing a game. That's right, Heli Phil. Thank you very much. There's my boy. I thank you very much for joining us again. It is so good to see you back. The information you shared about the trim and the SAS systems in the H125, awesome. So glad to see you back. Perfect timing too, just jumping right into the conversation. I get your point. MD-88 pilot. I get it. However, what they're doing right now is they are relying solely on AI to generate these missions. And they are not giving them any ifs in this coding to say whether or not this mission should be generated there. If this mission is buried in the woods, does the pilot in command have the option to operate a hoist? My rig right now, Sean, is a 2080 Ti, so I can actually put up some graphics of what my CPU specs are right here. I'm running a Ryzen Threadripper 2950X with 128 gigabytes of RAM, 2080 Ti graphics card with 11 gigabytes of VRAM, and I'm running Wi-Fi. The reason I'm getting these good sim rates or FPS and all this smoothness right now is a gigantic hack that our boys Island Sim Pilot and Air Bossman came up with, where I am able to use the DLSS scaling to optimize my performance. I don't know what we touch means. Isn't that great? We touch don't mean nothing. It definitely means we're not landing here, because we touch anything or we die. See, now right down here, almost at the center of the screen on the bottom, there seems to be a spot, again, that looks rather doable. But then you get a little bit closer to it. See, a couple of these spots look feasible, but then you come a little bit further left, just over this, like what looks to be sort of a riverbed. And this spot to the right of the riverbed is even more tempting. But I'm probably going to wind up dumping this, and I'm a little too far away from the target, in my opinion. Yeah, it says we are landing. I haven't seen that come up yet, even though I was hovering over that target. I am not a real-world search and rescue pilot. However, it is the career path that I wanted to go into, so I've done quite a bit of research, and yeah, it's a passion of mine that I've always wanted to do, but I wound up having to take a different path. The heli Phil, on the other hand, might have a little bit of a different experience level. How about on top of the hill, as long as it is in range? Yep, I agree. See, that's where I tried to go before, but the density in the woods this time, not exactly conducive to my rotor arc at this point. And MD-88, that's my point. They're dropping these missions that are basically essential for our progression into areas that literally make these missions impossible. And I'm pretty sure that this is a mission that, like, it needs to put into a completed status before anything else pops up with any regularity. And I think that that generation of multiple SAR missions around the planet was just kind of a fluke, because it was there for a while and then it wasn't. Yeah, you think it's a clue. It should be a clue. I mean, there should be a spot to land too. It's just, it's so dense. No matter where you look. There's one spot right there that's possible. But again, you're talking about the low-level bushes and smaller trees in there that they're gonna bite you when you get down there. the biome. Look at the differences in the trees, though. I mean, the graphics on this is fantastic, but the execution of putting these missions into the game was done specifically by AI without any oversight. And that's the most disappointing part about it. See, okay, over here, let's see how far this is, because I'm seeing some clearings now on this side. Not very large clearings, but clearings nonetheless. I'm already at 0.06, and we were talking earlier, like they want it within like 0.05, maybe a mile landing zone to where you could walk up to the target. See, this looks like a reasonable spot to consider. Maybe. It's tight, it's stovepipe. But if I tuck my tail in just a little more left, and maybe, I don't know, I'm going to go for it. I'm probably going to wind up crashing again, but I mean, I'm here to make a point. This is after an update was made, and we've been told that they don't need a world update to do search and rescue updates or career mode updates, because that's a different... See, there you go, crash. I'm back at 2,000 feet, starting all over again. It's genius, guys. It's genius. I wish I had better answers for you as far as how to get these missions unlocked, but right now, until they get these systems fixed, there's not much we can do. Or I just have to wait until another one of those glitches in the Matrix happens and I see another 30 or 40 SAR missions and I just do only those search and rescue missions. I got real close to putting it down in that spot, but I guarantee if I try it again, I'm going down. I mean, you've seen me do the toe-in landings before in gullies, and I'm a capable pilot when it comes to putting something down in a tight spot, but I can also be a good judge of what I shouldn't be doing. And 90% of what's going on in this area, I need a hoist. No question. I'm RTB and I'm requesting a different aircraft. There's nowhere else to put this thing down. There's a second opening maybe, but again, this thing is on such a large slope. We've all seen the toboggan stuff where the cutscene happens and all of a sudden your chopper just turns into a toboggan. And I think it's just out of the range. Nope, no sir. That up in that mission steps, it just says land close to target. I am not able to skip rescuing my survivor. Nope. That's something that I don't think they will ever give us the opportunity to do, because that is the name of the like it's the name of the game. That's what I'm here to do, is rescue that person. And if I can't do that, they're not going to give me the chance to skip it. They're going to give me the chance to skip something redundant like a taxi. She's coming down hard. There's so much of a slope to this spot. I'm not seeing this going well. I'm going to try the toe in again. I am making it down pretty well. But again, I haven't had any communications with my base to confirm that. See, and now I'm floating. I cannot go down anymore. Oh, shit. Wow. Okay. Not a good view. Not a good view. I'm going to toe down. I'm towed down. Sliding down the hill. It hasn't gone to the cutscene yet, but I do have positive contact with the ground. There's no way that I would be able to actually land this right now and not slide. If I go full power down, I'm sliding down the hill. I'm out. Can't do it. Something like this means hiking day for your med crew. Anything else would be unsafe to try. Yes, yes, and yes. The heli fill coming through again. There's no way this is real. And the problem is that they're relying on artificial intelligence to populate the planet with these missions. Nobody is in there verifying. I think they said something like 3 million missions are being generated. There's no one verifying that all of those missions are being populated in an area where that mission is truly possible with the aircraft we're given. That's what's missing. The human element. They're relying on AI, and that's the disconnect that we're getting right now in the simulator. No one is overseeing these. See, the big difference here is that when we had 2020, Hype Performance Group allowed us to actually create our own search and rescue missions, right? There's a lot of human intervention in that. I can pick and choose where my survivors are going to be, whether it's a road accident or a mountain rescue. And all of the missions that they had pre-generated were generated by people, not machines, that don't know what aircraft we're in. The biggest disconnect in 2024 is that they've allowed AI to generate these missions without oversight. That's what's making this so hard. And I think they just need to downscale the amount of missions. Oh, I might have a spot. I went, wait, what? Come on. I was in the mountain. Shut your front door. What? I got to try that from a different angle and see if we can put this thing through the mountain again. Because if it is, I might just dump out of this mission completely. Like, you have to be kidding me. My aircraft was in the mountain. A lot of ground effect coming into it. I mean, the ground effect is definitely there, but the crash physics of this mountain. I'm going to inch forward if I can, real nice and slow. Let's come around. Yeah, there we go. I'm flying in the mountains. Whee! Yep, sorry. I don't believe you. I don't believe you, Microsoft. You created a game that is an absolute fail. I'm going all the way back to the main menu. This is ridiculous. Do I love what they've done with the globe? Absolutely. But there is nothing about this that needs more work than helicopters in career mode. This is genius. I don't even know where to go from here. Like, okay, so after all of that, are there any more search and rescue missions generated on the planet? Absolutely not. Nope, we're right back where we left off. Square one, unable to advance. So when you guys are asking me all day long about how do you unlock these missions? I've done it once. I don't know how. Maybe this stupid mission wasn't even in the game at that point, but I was able to get by it. I was able to get by it by the world's most difficult search and rescue mission that I pulled off by chance. Not a single one. Ace, there's no more. There's none. Look at this. I'll show you the whole planet. Everywhere that there's missions being generated, even these ones that are grayed out. I'll come into each one of these areas. Nothing. Not one. I got VIP, you got your transports, your ferry flights. Not one. Cargo, sure thing. We'll come back up into the Alaska hotspot. Can you expand your area further west or northwest out of New England? By doing what? I just spent over 10,000 credits moving my pilot here with no result. I did move further in. Yes, sir. Before the update, there were close to 30 to 40 missions easily. it was your choice. They were everywhere. That's what I was expecting to see when I came in today. Not a damn one. Search and rescue hoist. Nope, not available. And this is still after the fact that I have already tanked one full airline because they just basically stole nearly $1 million from me. I know. That's to everyone's knowledge. That's how areas are unlocked, MD88. It's amazing. I could go out in the middle of nowhere. What do we got here? I mean, we're probably going to find some search and rescue missions out here. Maybe even some boat traffic that's had some incidents, right? Nope. Let's go ahead and do a first flight instead. Maybe even, let's do a ferry. Sure thing, Jorg. Sure thing. They got us. They got us. They got our money and they're laughing. Either that or they're crying because they expected this to be a lot better than it was. I mean, obviously they were expecting a better launch. But there's nothing about this that screams ready for launch. Not a thing. So let's try something completely out of the box that might just trigger this. Let's shoot an area over Arizona. This is going to be out of the box a test. I'm going outside of my realm of want just to see if we can trigger something. So let's see if we're going to wind up getting this jacked up right off the bat, and I'm sure we will, because even though this mission is expecting me to be in a fixed wing. Oh, okay. There's something new. 90% of the time, this used to keep you in the H-125 even when you tried a new mission. So let's see if it's remembered my settings for this aircraft, because I have done one of these scientific research missions before around the Tornado. If you haven't done that yet, I hope we are right now. Okay, cool. It's remembering my settings. Wicked cool. Yeah, so there's a Tornado. We're going to depart. Let's do this. I don't know if you guys have seen this before. I have. And I'm actually using more graphics settings now than I was the first time I saw these. So I'm actually very curious to see how well this goes. I'm truly surprised my stream is still growing strong. If you guys haven't been watching my channel for long, I've experienced a lot of crashes to desktops at this point, with the stream going this long. And now a lot of my settings have actually been pushed to the ultra point on a 2080 Ti, wink, wink. And I'm not experiencing those CTDs anymore. Absolutely, Dave. Yes. You need the hoist, but I can't get to the hoist endorsement yet because all of this nonsense is giving me just one unachievable mission. I also came across a little video today that I haven't posted anything about. There you go. We got the Tornado whipping around in the back. It's about to get real windy up in here. There is a script out there right now, and it's specific to PC users. But there is a way that you can add something into this menu right here at the top, where it takes all of this nonsense out of the process, and you can come into your missions without any of your pitot covers on or anything like that. I'll get back in there and maybe post some links to that in the next video. But yeah, I think that would be a great way to kind of speed up having to pre-flight your aircraft every single time. I don't consider you ignorant at all either, Dave. I'm a pretty good helicopter pilot. I've been flying RC helicopters and these sims, this kind of thing, for quite a while. I've had my hands on a real helicopter for a short amount of time, and I'm decent at it. I've got really good hand-eye coordination, and I just pick this stuff up pretty quickly. Don't be embarrassed, or, you're not ignorant. It's all good. I'm just going to speed through this. I'm going to Control E to start the engines up. It's on sim market. Dope. I'm also going to ignore most of my... Oh, hold on. Wrong button. Wow. Let's digress. Let's get into this. I want to get the EFB into view. I know where the tornado is. Again, it's not going to let me advance just yet. Let's get those mission steps back up here so everyone can see where in the mission I'm at. Also, if you click the suction cup, what I believe should be happening is the EFB should come off of the window so you can see out of your windscreen, but you can't. I've also been told that there's a power button that you could use to disable it, but I still have yet to see a power button in my EFB. I don't know where that power button exists. If I'm missing it, I can go into each one of these menu systems and nothing's going to change. I've never seen a power button. So that thing's just stuck to my window for now. Bravo. Okay, so Ace, you just flew this mission and nothing happened. Alright. Let's see here. Got my hold short over to the left. It did bring me into the sim with a full throttle as well, which is why I kind of sped away from that parking spot. My throttle was at 100% while parked. For some reason, the Control E auto start tends to do that pretty frequently. Alt N, skip to Maloo. In here, we got that parking brake released. We're up, we're out. I'm not worried about ATC. Go ahead and ding me. I do want to see if I have these visuals on the whole time, because this is actually extremely important, I think, as you're being introduced to these tornado missions. Yeah, I don't care. I'm on my way out. I'm on a full speed. We got things to do. I'm losing my train of thought. This is so frustrating. Why? I'm not even in the cockpit looking at my rotation speed. I'm just flying. Screw it all. Initial climb is 55. I did hit the retracts again, even though we set all of our stuff up, and it does have my preset for this aircraft. The button mappings and key bindings that I have on this aircraft right now are not working. It's reverting everything back to default, and I have done this mission, or not this specific mission, but these missions in this aircraft before, and I had everything properly key bound before doing so, and once again, it's reverted me back to default. Wee. So this is the part where you kind of really have to pay attention in these missions, okay? Leave these visual assistants on, because it's going to show you like a circle around the tornado that you have to stay in. And if you don't have these on, you're probably going to wind up getting a little bit too close to the tornado, and you're not going to progress through it. Did you have the same thing on? Did you have these frames available to show you your flight path when you failed this mission or not? Now, when you get a little closer to these tornadoes, too, you can actually see the debris coming off of the ground. I might risk it on the way back and go a little bit closer to it just to show you guys some of the graphics that the tornado is producing here. On a 2080 Ti. Yeah, screw you. I don't care about my max speed. Flaps down. What? Shut up. Well, my flaps were at 1. Boo. So it says Alt-N to skip to filming. We're going to Alt-N, and guess what? Nothing happens. Alt-N again. All right, now it's going to go. Now we're straight to filming. Again, it's got you in that same like circular orbit that I think they're going to require out of all of these missions. Search and rescues are going to require you to do this orbit around your survivor or whatever, even when you're doing the flight seeing. All right, these orbits are something that they're building in everything. They're building it into their game. Okay, so you did have them on, and it still didn't let you progress. And you kept all of yours, stay within 1 nautical mile, stay below 101 knots. See, now, okay, now I didn't see that before. I'm going to need to slow down a little bit. I've got this thing at full throttle, just pushing it to get this started. So let's see if I can slow this puppy down a little bit. The EFB in the window is just gold. That's fantastic. It does move across the planet too. It stays static when you first see it, but then as you progress through the mission, you can see that this thing is actually like moving around the world. Overspeeding a little again. I'm real good at that. I feel the need for speed. What can I say? There you can see the debris kind of coming in front of the funnel. There's not a lot of it, but you can see some little black pieces kind of flying around the funnel. Super cool. I guess I'm still inside of a nautical mile. All right. We could sightsee for a little bit. Maybe. If you do get too close to these things, pretty amazing flight characteristics. I love it. Hi to Andy Us. Dude, your voice is awesome. With due respect, you should work in radio station. Ha ha. As in for the game, I'm addicted to this sim. So am I. It is an amazing game. 100%. What's funny about that comment right there, I to Andy. I actually went to school for broadcasting, and it's something I have done in the past. I did a radio show online for a full year, and right now I work as a technical director in the video content creation realm of the world. I initially went to broadcasting school to do radio, and once I touched video, I was absolutely hooked. So I've got a background in radio, believe it or not. True story. I actually was even the ring announcer for the Chicago Golden Gloves. This is progressing. I'm going to go Alt-N and skip through. It looks like it's working. Yeah, Dave, autopilot would be an easier way, for sure. But I think the point of this one is just to kind of like just fight through it, right? I get it. It would absolutely be easier. I'm not trying to do all that right now. All right, so let's see here. We're going to extend the gears. I need to also make sure that I've at least got a landing light on. Let's try to get some of these ATC infractions out of the way. I appreciate that, man. It is awesome. It is a career path that I chose instead of flying helicopters. I spent 7 years in the Army Reserves as a light wheel vehicle mechanic. Got experience in a little bit more than I want, but I've found out it's quite beneficial to just dabble in a little bit of everything. I was even an instructor at the school that I graduated from. The school that I graduated from turned around and asked me to teach for them for a little while. Did that for about 5 years, and then I became a 100% just freelancer doing all of my video content creation kind of on my own. I do a little bit of drone work on the side, I like to dabble. And flight, you know, doing that drone work is still a part of my workflow on a pretty consistent basis. So it's something that I just can't seem to avoid. I like seek it out. I'm addicted to flight. The fact that we as human beings can take aircraft that weigh hundreds of tons and move things across the planet on, you know, it's remarkable. It's one of the most amazing things I think humanity has ever achieved is flight. I am overspeeding the daylights out of this right now. Okay. I have no idea what's happening right now. I'm full throttle down. I'm just gonna try. Float it, float it. Let's go flaps 1. Float, 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 float. Not center line, but I'm down. Reduce speed. It's a Dunsky. Quick and dirty. See, when I do this in sim, I'm not all about like being a perfectionist about this. I'm in for it for like just more of the experience. Yeah, every once in a while I'll get a little bit more hardcore on it, but for the most part, that hardcore part is only going to really come when I'm in a helicopter doing search and rescue. This is just the meat and potatoes and the gravy that I'm putting to the leftovers. Alt N, skip to Maloo. I'm done. I'm done. Let's get some of these things finished here. Let's get back inside. I'm gonna even, you know, yeah, it doesn't take much to shut this thing down. A couple of little buttons. Golden. Success. Now, will this trigger more search and rescue? That is the ultimate question. 76 for quality, 97 for smoothness, a whole bunch of infractions for aviator performance. I might pull out an A. Why not? I'm getting the XP points. This is probably going to put me somewhere at like the level 75 right now. I'm not mad. Progression. Getting some money in the process. Almost 12 G's. Something. Okay, so on this screen, here's another one that's really just... oh, this is so irritating lately. When I come back into the career mode for the first time in the day, sometimes I will take a hit to that reputation. Oh, 78. I'll take a hit to that reputation just for coming into a mission. I haven't done a mission yet that day. But all of a sudden it'll show me that and it'll hit my reputation and I'll lose quite a bit. Look at this. Nothing's changed. That mission went away. Let's go up to Alaska. Nothing's changed. Do I spend more money into an area that's not a hot spot? Do I drop another 10 G's for no reason? Look at this. Nothing's changed. Nice update, Microsoft. You're killing it. This is tragic. The only thing I can do at this point is just continually earn more money. And wait for these fools to figure this out. I know they're not fools, but that's how it feels at this point because their launching of this simulator, calling it ready, was foolish. There is nothing different. Agriculture, we got the transfers, you know, there's literally nothing different. Oh, look who's still here, our good friend in the wilderness of Canada. The same one. The only one on the planet is the one we just exited out of. There's a little red roof. I'm at a loss. I don't have any other suggestions for anybody. If anyone else knows how to get past this section, chime in. Let a brother know. Because I've tried everything. I've come across those 30 to 40 SAR missions one time, and I honestly think it was just the system doing something that it shouldn't have really done. And I just happened upon it by chance. Because there's nothing different. Anywhere. Unavailable. So let's see what we got. It's so frustrating. Do I keep going for further certification? Because what I had thought about doing to earn this money, because I've heard like 6-figure incomes on the fixed wing side of things when you're doing the airline transport pilot's license, right? However, I don't know if you guys have flown the Vision Jet before. I mean, it's a great aircraft in real life. But there's something about it. Maybe it's the fact that I have 2 different versions of them, because I really enjoy that, right? So what I had done in 2020 is I came in and actually wound up getting a third-party version of the Vision. So I have 2 different versions of this. Now, mind you, the second version today isn't visible. Yesterday it was. So if I go into the Flight Simulator Marketplace up here and I go to my library, this also irritates the daylights out of me. Patch 3 is out. Yeah, well, when I started the stream today, it started off with basically something like, and you'll see here, your game needs an update. It was a 3.9 gigabyte update, and yeah, that's a patch to me. However, I think it's once again done more harm than good. I've got some aircraft in here. These are all being streamed, but I had purchased a secondary Vision Jet third party, and it's not even in the list. Or am I missing it? Look at my H1. Oh, what? My Huey is even disabled. Man, they got so much work to do. Nice is disabled. All of these companies, and I wonder if all of these payware third-party add-ons will wind up catching up eventually. I'm living near the Chicagoland area, so this Chicago landmarks was really important to me. And when I flew in Chicago recently in 2024, the graphics were kind of disappointing. And was like, man, I really hope that company gets on their game and updates that. Yeah, January is, yeah, okay. But will everything that you've purchased in 2020 also be available? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be available right off the bat. But because the Vision Jet that I've purchased in 2020 isn't even in the damn list. It's not there. World updates, of course that's going to be there. That's Microsoft stuff, and they're all streaming that, right? But the Vision Jet, gone. It was there yesterday. So I think that there's a lot more things to come. Oh, there it is right here. Vision Jet disabled. It was available in sim yesterday. I passed over it probably more than once. Okay, so why is it visible one day and then not the next? Is there just that many problems with that specific aircraft that they're like, nope, we need to fix it before we go any further with it? So let's see this. Here's another thing that I want to know. I've got the Aviator Edition. I have the H225. This thing is a hoist-capable machine. Why don't I have the ability to use this in sim? Now, I get it. Everybody doesn't have the Aviator Edition. However, since I do, I think what they should allow us to do is actually use this in our version of the career mode. And you'll see that too. The save and back and configure buttons just all of a sudden weren't even available, and you have to click the screen. This is such a small bug to fix. That's not even done. It is the best simulator ever. I will agree with that 10,000%. Gulf Coast, Tim, I agree. However, there's so much work to be done on this thing. As far as career mode goes, I'm curious how long it's going to take them to get us back to... Well, it's not even back to anything. It's like, how long is it going to take them to get us where we need to be? Where they said that we were going to be. How much time is that going to take? This bad boy... Hype Performance Group's Airbus H160. If you want to talk about something that is a lot of fun to fly in this simulator, this is it. This chopper. Good, good, and good. So let's see what's happening in Chicago right now. Let's go to Ann and Robert H. Lurie Children's Hospital and set a departure. In an H160. I'm even gonna leave the daylight at the dark setting right now. We're gonna go into Chicago at night and see how these graphics look. And we're also gonna see what the H160 was capable of in 2020 compared to what it's capable of in 2024. Because if you don't know what this channel is about, it's about comparing the two. What was available versus what is. Load times, load times, load times. If you haven't been in an area in a while and you're not caching your data, these load times can get a little bit excessive. The spinning wheel of misfortune has stopped. Oh, there we go. The amount of time it takes, though. Oh, it's coming in. It's coming in. We've got some people flying out here. Uh-oh. I got some tags on. If you guys want to join in, I'm in Chicago. Come and join me. Again, Gulf Coast, Tim, I agree. I'm having a great time with this. I absolutely love Microsoft's Flight Sim. There's nothing like it. There's never been anything like it. When I first load into an area, as the sim starts to generate the topography and the buildings and all of that photogrammetry, it does stutter a little bit on entry. But once I cache the data, even not saving it in a cache, if I were to leave this sim, go back to like the main menu and come back in, that stuttering would go away. Or even as you just let the sim sit for a while, it starts to get quite a bit more responsive, right? Like I can move around that camera quick in a very short amount of time. If it takes a little bit too long, sometimes I will actually go out of that mission, flight, whatever it may be, and start all over again. So, if you guys haven't seen the H160 before, let's see, here we go with overreacting controls now. Hold your horses. Slow down there, Wilbur. Easy, boy. Easy. I do like to have a little bit of either a nav map or a D map on this one. The flight panel on this chopper is quite impressive. Gulf Coast Tim. PC specs. Here we go. We'll give it to you one more time. I am on a Ryzen Threadripper 2950X, 128 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, and a 2080 Ti. Old school 2080. However, like right now, my graphics are freaking out. Like, this thing is extremely sensitive to all of my input I'm going to try to carry on. I'm going to try not to get out of it because I want to show you what's going on in this little pop-out iPad right here. See if I can't use my other camera controls to slowly move into this. We'll go into the aircraft, and you can do that config option right here. You can see that I can actually change the gameplay mode from realistic to arcade, or you can turn your aircraft damage on or off, or check ring state, all of those fancy things that you can do in the menu systems. You can do just directly inside of your aircraft. Weight and balance, you can select what kind of cockpit gear you've got. You can select your equipment. If you have a WSPS system on there, storage covers, you can put them on, off. You know, all of those things are changeable. You can come into your crew and payload. This is the civilian version of this aircraft. New update. Crashing in menus after a 4-hour session. Oh, Avalock, man. Earlier this evening before the update. Bro, you were doing so good, too. Did you do the whole cache cleaning and all of that good stuff, too? You'll also see that this aircraft loads in with no fuel. Always refuel. I've learned that lesson the hard way. How can you enable those disabled planes, Oscar? You intrigue me with your question, because no, I don't. I don't know how to do that. I do know that you can go into the mission set, and you can go into the mission library, and you can do a HPG mission transport, passenger transport. Oh, you're going to go all the way through another full reinstall? You know what? I honestly, I can't argue with you there. I think that might be a good idea because, again, that corrupt data might be coming from Microsoft again. Not a bad call. I'm behind you on that one, Avalette. It's going to be time-consuming, but I think it might be worth it. Maybe tweak those graphic settings, bring those down just a skosh if it's possible. Can I demonstrate the OEI automatic return to LZ before the takeoff decision point? Maybe. I know it was working in 2020. So there's a little bit of a process that you need to go through. I think first of all, what I need to do is come up to my panel on the roof. Little roof, a low roof. The low roof is on fire. Turn a little bit of light on up in here so you guys can see what I'm doing. The option is there at the bottom to go to the plane. Okay. Okay. I will definitely look into that. So as far as this automatic takeoff landing thing is concerned, there's quite a few steps that you kind of need to go through. I'm going to first of all lock that nose wheel into position. And again, I haven't tested this in 2024 yet, so I'm hoping we can actually get a good result out of this. I like the pilot's head sticking out, or even the flight mech's head sticking out. It's good stuff. I also want to come in and do this T/O button that I'm highlighting right here. You're going to see that it has either helipad or vertical, and if you double press or just press that one more time, it will switch from helipad to vertical, so you'll have those options. All right, and again, on your EFB, right, not EFB, on your glass cockpit, it does say helipad takeoff. You also want to go into this button. And I think, here we go again, just testing my memory. You guys are good at that. I like that. So now that we have that, I think the next step was to put the couple here. Then, well, let's see if we can get the camera right. My graphics are starting to smooth out. You'll notice that my camera, unless I move fast, is actually doing what it's supposed to. So it's like the more time you spend in that location, the better your graphics perform. I'm going to turn the NR high to on. My aircraft is still in an off position, so I'm just going to do a quick start up here, just the Control E to get the rotor spinning. And this is such a beautiful model. I love this thing. It's such a great aircraft to fly. Autopilot's fully functional, very smooth. Super smooth. Absolutely Gulf Coast. Coming up to speed. Now for the next part of this, you kind of need to go into the autopilot system by clicking the time at the top of the fold-out iPad. And you're not going to see this activated until you get into the air. It's going to stay in this configuration until you're actually airborne. But now that I have the takeoff selected as I'm going to do vertical, because I am in downtown Chicago amongst buildings right now. I think a helipad takeoff might be a little bit dangerous. I'm not exactly sure what's behind me. And you, oh, Jude, you run in ultra settings with a few sliders? Okay. Yeah, you should try some DLSS too, man. I bet you'd be shocked at how good you can get your frame rates to be. All right, so let's see. Let's put a decision altitude in here, because a lot of the times these aircrafts are going to demand that you put a decision altitude and a decision height into these. So you can see the button that I'm highlighting here is DA. And then I can use the scroller here on the bottom right to adjust what my decision height will be. Since I'm already 1,000 feet off the ground, you're going to see that thing come into view now, that little like orange line. And the inner button, or I should say the inner dial, is the smaller increment movements, and the outer dial is 100 increments. So I'm going to put that decision height to 200, and then, or decision altitude to 200, and then I'm also going to do the decision height to 200 as well. Again, these should start off at ground level. This doesn't seem to be reacting at all. Okay, I'm getting a lot of stutter right now. I have a feeling we may be getting close to a freeze. I really do. I'm not sure why, I just do. Scary. We'll see what happens. We're going to go with it. So I'm going to stay on this view, and I'm going to put a little power into the helicopter. As it comes up, hold on. Let me do one thing before I do this. I think I have real world weather on right now, and we're experiencing a little bit of wind in the city right now. Not what I wanted to do. So we're gonna go back here, up here to the weather. I'm gonna get this back into daylight. Let's bring this to daylight. Overexpose our cameras. Let's put a little bit of broken clouds in here. So maybe a little bit more daylight. Live weather is not on. Wind options, speed. I don't want 12-mile-an-hour winds. We're gonna kick this down and make life stupid easy because I can cheat for the demonstration purposes. All right. So I'm gonna zoom out of this just a little bit so I can just, not that far, just so I can get a better visual reference of what I'm doing spatially. All right, so I'm going to try to bring this aircraft just off the ground, and you'll see this switch into this mode right here. Now what I want to do is actually choose the GA, go around, and now I am hands off of the aircraft. It's not doing anything. If I bring it into hover, it's automatically in a hover. It just, right now I'm holding a hover. I'm good. What is with the bounce? What is with the bounce? Yeah, this helicopter is jamming right now. This is the first time I've experienced that with this chopper. If I add a little bit more power, I get no response out of it because the aircraft is holding a hover on its own in autopilot configuration. So what I see happening right here is that this takeoff helipad option, either I'm doing it incorrectly because I haven't done it in so long, or it's not working in 2024. And I'm going to go with option B, because the go around should do that. So right as soon as I hit go around, you're seeing this helicopter, my hands are off the controls right now, and she's just going all by herself. I have no control over the helicopter at all. Hopefully it doesn't crash into the building. I just gain control because buildings, right? But it's still in that heading altitude, right? So that go around button is what should instigate that option of a automatic takeoff. The RTB is something that is a little bit glitchy and doesn't always get you back to where you took off from. I can see you. If I don't have that helicopter, I am there. I love it, Ace. Where you at? Let's see if we can see Ace in sim here while we just hover around. We got the Spirit of Navy Pier. The Spirit of Navy Pier. Is that even a thing? I don't think so. I mean, we got the Odyssey, the Spirit of Chicago. Those are boats that are docked there, but not that. Let's get those landing gear up. Again, I'm still in an autopilot configuration, and this bad boy is just chilling. We're going to come back in, because if I'm not mistaken, we started a mission. It says fly to the pickup location. So if I zoom out of this map right now, you can see I have a magenta line leading all the way down here to a destination just south of Chicago Heights. And there's a mission that's activated in a free flight. There's probably quite a few things that are going to take care of that. I love it. Elifo, man, I enjoy having you here, man. You're so much fun. I love the reality that you bring to it. It's so good. Let's get that autopilot off. Let's go for a cruise and see if we can actually pick up people and do a passenger transport in a free flight. You're at the hospital too? All right, all right. Let's see if we can't zoom back just a bit here. Oh, I love this bird. Ah, yes, on a mission. So I'm in free flight on a mission. In a third-party aircraft. And that third party is Hype Performance Group, who is now a partner of Microsoft's. And they are heavily involved in the search and rescue portion of 2024. Which is why I'm so disappointed with the results we're seeing in 2024. Because what I experienced in 2020 flying their helicopters and their missions was vastly different and much better than what we're seeing here. I was able to use their operations center and create missions around the world and share them with people. And I'm confident that we'll get back there. Yeah, career mode is dope. I didn't honestly think that I would play much free flight. I thought the only thing that I was going to do was career mode. Because once they put search and rescue into the base sim, I was like, oh yeah, this is where it's at. Because they did so good with search and rescue in 2020, I can only imagine what they're going to do with 2024. And it's been just an absolute dog pile. I'm really glad I turned the wind off. Even more of a smooth flight. I agree. It is the best edition that they have done. It's full of glitches. But again, we're still in 2024's infancy. It's just a little baby. What's my speed? I'm currently doing 120. It's going to be a long road, but I love road trips, man. It's entertaining as it gets on top of it, too, man. You get to see your flight mech become a tank commander on the way back from search and rescue mission over the ocean. And your search mech, you know, your rescue swimmer's head is just sticking out of the top of the fuselage while you're on your way back to the base. It's hilarious. But the graphics of this city are horrible compared to what that third-party graphics version update, whatever you want to call it, was. And now it's unusable. Now I'm starting to get the stutters. But again, I believe that that's just because it's such a high density area, you know, the population of the buildings, railways, water, atmospherics. There's a lot being streamed right now. I'm on Wi-Fi on a 2080 Ti, and a lot of my settings are on Ultra right now. That's where that's coming from. That's explainable. So what I could do is probably even couple this. So if I hit couple right now, that's going to go ahead and turn the aircraft towards that. Let's go ahead and do an alt hold. And let's see if we can adjust our indicated airspeed just a little bit here. Let's set that around 110, do the indicated airspeed, and we're just going to let the autopilot fly us there. Oh, maybe I shouldn't take my hands off the controls just yet. Do a flip. It wouldn't be the first time I did a flip. I've actually pulled them off in the H125 before, actually earlier in this stream. There we go. Oh, we're starting. The autopilot seems to be not engaging. Let's see if I can't turn my torque rating down to something a little bit around the 50% mark there. And I'm still not able to go full hands off with the autopilot just yet. Yeah, I'm not sure about the environmental lighting either. Let's see if we can take this thing into a heading bug instead. For some reason, it's not liking the couple. Let's change this map into an NVA map. Slowing that party around. We're going to go somewhere in there. We're going to turn heading on. Readjust it. See, none of that is working right now. Interestingly enough, because prior, this had worked. It looks like it just wants to bring me into a hover. Very interesting. The world does look dead. I think that has a lot to do with just the amount of clouds that I have in the area. It looks a little bit apocalyptic, if you will. So let's change that. Let's brighten things up. Let's go clear skies. Let's take the autopilot off and let's just fly this thing. All of that was working. Oh, and now it's back to nav. Okay, couple little things. Couple little things. Butter. The thing is butter. Looks like North Korea at night. Hilarious. Where's Kim? And even with the like pre-cache settings on Ultra, you can see the world kind of, the fidelity of it is generating relatively further away from the helicopter than I had experienced previously. But yeah, you can still see a lot of that topography, bridges, all of those things just kind of come into clarity, especially when you get into that low-level flying. I don't have any vehicle traffic on. I turned that off just to save a little bit of that graphics overhead. Yes. Most of the tropical locations, Gulf Coast Tim, most of those tropical locations are amazing. Have you ever been to Reunion Island? It's a volcanic island in the Indian Ocean to the east of Madagascar. If you want a stunning place to fly, I believe the ICAO code is FMEE. It's a good spot to take off from at that island. Gilbert is the name of the airport. That place is redonkulously cool. So much going on with the landscape in that area. It's so cool. Valleys, ridges, volcanoes, peaks, valleys, towns, hospitals. The red line. I love it. The whatever, call the cops. Are you from Chicago too, man? Are you from the Chi-Town area? Because with a name like whatever, call the cops, you just might be. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. I love my Chi-Town. Don't get me wrong. We got some things happening in Chicago, boy. Yeah, dude. Gulf Coast, Tim. Check it out. Again, I think it's Gilbert, FMEE. ICAO code. Super cool spot. I've also got videos, little long-winded videos, but I'm getting some dough, man. A lot of stuttering. Things are coming to an abrupt end here, guys. I don't know how this is going to end or not. If this stops, it's my sim saying no more. I've lost complete control of the helicopter right now. She's freaking out. What is happening? This has got to be this area caching. This is... I have lost complete control of the helicopter. Overspeeding. She's coming down. I'm trying so hard to keep this thing in the air right now. I have no idea what's happening. The amount of stutter that I am experiencing in this spot right now is not okay. Unrecoverable. Going down. You wanted me to do a flip. There it is. Oh, yeah. At least it gets me back on track. How nice. In the woods. You guys are dope. What, Microsoft? Did you seriously just do that? What is happening in this simulator right now? It's got to be the area. It has to be. 0.0. Yeah, it's probably like 0.02 frames per second. This is painful. She's coming down again, too. She's just dropping out of the sky. Okay. Okay. The escape key finally recognized. Let's go main menu. I think we're all done with that. So I think we're all learning things about that free flight and, you know, that fly-in we were talking about earlier. I'm going to have to bring my graphics settings down a little bit to make that happen. Especially if we do it in an urban area. So choose wisely, people. How long do you want that stream to last? None of the menu systems are responsive. I've hit main menu a couple of... There we go. They would take the copper out of the chopper. I loved it. Love it. See, the graphics here are even a little bit stuttery. These aren't smooth anymore. Very interesting. Okay, so now that we've been out of sim before a little while, we haven't been in career mode. Let's see if that's triggered anything. How stupid is Microsoft actually? Are we gonna wind up with 30 HEMS missions right now? Search and rescue is just all over the place. Oh, this is crazy how long this is taking. Alright, see, graphics now are starting to come back into play. I'm out of free flight. Everything seems to be a-okay, copacetic, reacting smoothly. Okay. See, it didn't take too long to recover. But there ain't no search and rescue missions anywhere. Alright, so if that's on the... Again, with this... I was really hopeful that the update that they put out today would fix some of this nonsense. It seems to me to be such an easy fix. A CPU upgrade. I don't think the CPU is my issue. Right? Because I'm a 16-core, 32-thread Ryzen Threadripper 2950X. Okay? There's nothing wrong with my chipset. The simulator is very multi-threaded hungry, so having 32 threads is very beneficial. How many threads are you getting out of yours? Because what you're talking about seems more like a GPU. 5700X, is that the Intel card or Intel chipset? But 32 threads, that's exactly what this simulator is hungry for. What I need is a different graphics card. Or maybe not a different graphics card, but another 2080 Ti, because I can DSLI bridge those, and actually these are the kind of cards that will double your VRAM when you use a DSLI bridge. These are my specs. 4.4 gig AMD Ryzen 2950X with 128 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM and a 2080 Ti. Right? The only thing in my system that's lacking is that chipset. So if you're running the Ryzen 5700X, how many threads do you have there? I think we do some more ag runs. Just start making money again. The one thing that really irritates me about these agricultural missions is how close they put these refill trucks to the trees sometimes. Have you guys tried these? Is it saving the 125 AG presets on my controls? Before I dive in, I want to know that my controls are right. It has been saving these for the most part under my breath. It takes so long. It's just a keyboard preset, Microsoft. We're talking about some very, very stupid information. Okay, so it's remembering them. If I do a search by input, though, I'm on the keyboard. So let's go into our cyclic real quick and check. Okay. If we go into the throttle configuration and we do a check. Okay. How about one of these? Yep. Already reverted. So that's a conflict, but that's outside. Translate your own. This one I don't need. Crouch has a conflict with a decreased height, but that's a different set. I'm in. Looks to be good. So do you know how many cores your card has? Because if you know how many cores your card has, all you have to do is double that number, and that's how many threads you have. Graphics came right back. I don't use any VR headsets, no IR tracking, nothing like that. I'm literally making these. What? As I'm talking, we get glitches. I love it. See, that's what? It's almost like every time that person gets close to me, the camera jerks. Get away from me, bro. You're too close. I'll call HR. Wow. See, again, the graphics are just tweaking again. We went from smooth and buttery back to tweaking. Yeah, and you know what I honestly think the issue is right now is my graphics card is probably over throttling. Let's see if we come into this. And let's go into the settings options up in here. Let's see if I can't fix this with a simple graphics setting. So here's where we're at with my 2080 Ti. DLSS Super Res using performance. Got that AMD Fidelity sharpening at 100. Level of detail 100. Off-screen pre-cache. I'm gonna leave that at ultra. Let's bring these down. Let's see if we can kick this in the butt right now. I don't want it low. I don't want it that low. Let's go like high. Let's get the trees to high. Let's put the plants to high. Well, you can turn the plants to off? Shut up. Can you do that to trees? Man, could you imagine if you could turn the trees off? You'd be able to finish every search and rescue mission they have. Let's turn everything back down to high. I don't want to get into anything else. We're going to leave all of that just like that and see if we get some better results. I'm pretty sure we should do just fine with that. Okay. Testing 2, 3, 1, 1, 2. Bob check, Ralph check, Mike check. The quick and dirty start. Just make sure you touch all those control surfaces and then hit the crank. She still fires up, but it's a simulator. Who needs a checklist? Stuff's for beginners. No, I don't want more. I want the flight planner. Not too far away. I'd like to try the Ryzen 9 5950 by 3D 4080 Super C. Now, I've actually heard reports that the 4080 series or the 4000 series in general is actually having a issue specifically with the simulator. I believe it was Marche. I think he's from Asobo. Don't quote me on that. He might be from a different company, but he, under his breath, said that they were having issues with the 40 series of cards in their last dev stream. And he said it under his breath. As if they were trying not to say that information, but they let it go anyway. Good to see you, Gulf Coast. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again soon, man. Glad you enjoyed the stream. Thanks for participating. Really glad to have you here, man. See you soon. We got the graphics back. We're in the chopper. The good old H125 agriculture. Let's bring up some ATC just so we can keep track of this too. We'll undock that over here. Control seems a little funny. Just a little. We still got a nice tail. Seems to be running smoothly. I like it. Our visual displays are no longer on. We have no idea where the runway is whatsoever. And our EFB basically says that it's, yeah, okay. What in the absolute? Well, there's our runway, apparently. This little road-looking thing? Sure, we'll go with that. First time here. I'm up. Newbie. Let's drop that EFB out of our way. I don't think we need to see it that large and in charge. Alright, there's our refuel truck. We're going to increase sim rate one time. It's not that far. I will get back on the flight plan here, though. 2 miles. I love the sim rate increase, decrease. Gets rid of most of the boring parts in between. Flying the chopper steady in these situations, though, is quite challenging. That's why I try to keep it down to 1. Start bringing this back down here. It says skip to refilling. You know what? I'm in. I'm going to throttle down to make sure that I don't take off. Oh, yeah. I thought it would put me on the truck. Not quite. Wow. It didn't like that at all. Hold your thought. Hold your thought. What I like about this field, I'm starting to get those stuttery graphics even with those lower settings. What is happening? Is this the cache? See, now I have a full 100 gigs worth of cache available right now. It is off, but I would think by going from one spot to another that would actually help. But I'm probably down to like something like maybe 10 frames right now. There we go. We got a little bit of a glitch as this truck comes into view, which is not flat. And now everything is smoothing out again. It seems like as the simulator tries to pop... Wow, the ground effect over these things is really strong. But it seems like the sim takes its time kind of pre-caching that data and slows it down. They need to do some work on these physics models around these things too, because I could barely come down on this at all. Easy, girl. Easy. Hey. Yeah, right there. Sure. We're down. Wow. It's not happening like that. Ground effect is, I mean, it's abrasive, but it's not like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through one of these agriculture missions. I know this is not what we're here to see. This is not what the channel is about. But right now we're trying to explore the options to unlock more search and rescue missions. It's brought my communications back into the screen. Okay. You do you, boo. And we've got a pretty clear spot right here. Nice lines on the field. This should be pretty good. I like it. Let's get into a pretty good seated position here in my 2D world. So I can see where I'm at, what my mission set is, where I've gone, what I've got left to do. Something like that. Yeah, but see, I didn't even need to restart the sim there, Oscar. See, if I just let the sim breathe a little bit, all right? Because what that stuttering is the download of the information, because all of this is being streamed. And again, you have to remember that I am on a Wi-Fi network and streaming at the same time. So there's some things happening in the PC that are just making that more of a struggle than it needs to be. See, the 3070 is actually my next choice. That's the GPU that I'm considering next. The 3070. Low and slow. They like it 50, they like it low. It's either going to be that 3070 or maybe another 2080 Ti like I was talking about earlier, and then do a DSLI bridge so I can double it to 22 VRAM. Nice clean pass. Look at that. That actually worked out really well. I'm happy with that. Another glitch here that I see is they'll come back and tell you that your pass was sucked. And it's like, on your EFB, it's the greatest pass ever. You haven't gone over the lines. Your pass was perfect. And they're like, yeah, you need to manage your spray better. Manage your spray better. You're too early. I got a little bit of an overlap going on, but I think that's actually okay. It's not turning orange on that map at all. It's a nice green coverage. Looking pretty tight so far. It's time consuming, but actually these missions are pretty fun. I mean, you get to do some maneuvers in the helicopters and try to be accurate with your passes and try not to get too much overlap. Try to keep track of where those lines are on the field. It's challenging. I'm down for it. Trying to keep that speed at 50 and that altitude nice and low. Nice little change of pace every once in a while. I don't hate them. And those passes are looking really good. A couple of little yellow spots to the right side of that line there, but I'm not mad. It should still provide 100% coverage if I get that consistency throughout the entire mission. I'm coming a little bit far away from my field, too, to make sure that my speed on these approaches is regulated before I start spraying. And again, just trying to maintain that visual on what line I've done. Coming across at that 50. A little slow, but it's still taking me. It's still good. It's still good. Clean pass. Clean pass. It's almost like I've done it before. But I will say that this is a very easy field. There's no power lines on either side of the pass. It's not bad. I've seen some of these where they're just surrounded by an ungodly amount of power lines that wouldn't exist in reality. Trees in the middle of the field, which is realistic, but it certainly makes making the efficiency of each pass a lot harder. And again, we're going through all of this just to unlock more search and rescue. A little slow, just a little slow. Starting to drift off my line too. Correct that. start to use some of these things that we're passing too, like those rocks in the truck, as kind of a visual reference to make these passes as you're coming back in and line up. A lot of stuttering in the graphics as we go back and forth over this. Should be just to the right side of these rocks here. Spray on. Way too slow. See, talking too much. I've been told I talk too much. Let's come out and make that a little bit more of a teardrop. Let's get that 50 dialed in first. A little bit closer. Low and slow. See, I slow down too much though. Not too bad. Not too bad. We're getting her covered. We're doing pretty good. All in the name of search and rescue, right? As the truck just jumps around by itself as the graphics pop in. Even though we should have cached that truck by now, as many times as we passed over it, even landed on it, you would think that that graphic would just be there. Nope. Slip sliding away. Come on, let's do this. This has got to be one of the easiest fields I've ever come across doing these agricultural flights. There's nothing around this field. Getting really clean lines. I mean, I'm keeping all that spray right inside those lines. It's looking really good right now. If anything, it's going to be a pretty decent payday. Coming a little too far. I might have to make a second pass on this one. A little bit too far off the... No, I think we recovered all right. I think we got it. Should be clean. There's a little bit of yellow in between, but I'm not mad. It's not like it's the first time there's yellow between these lines. It's already trying to tell me to contact ground on the field completion. Way too early, 3/4 of the way through the passes. Quite a bit more overlap on that one. Come on now. Come on now. Easy, girl. She catching some wind or something. Slow. Easy, Wilbur. I'm double passing. I'm going over it. I'm not dropping any egg on that one. Wrong line. I'm going to waste some time on that one. But I don't want to double overlap, you know. So I'm playing it safe, trying to get those dollars. little too far again. I feel like I need to get a little bit more time lining up here. Man, these graphics are getting glitchy again. Why? It's such a basic area too. There's not that much going on here. It's that GPU, I swear. It's what it is. It's my problem. Yeah, and now it smooths out all by itself. See, it's like it caches, stops. Right back to smooth. If you want a lesson on how agricultural helicopter flights are done, I suppose this was an ad-lib little bonus track right here. That's a clean, just a clean field of fertilizer right there. I bet you it's that group of like exhaust. What would you call those? Is there some kind of large like industrial factory sitting back there? And like every time I come to that side of the field, I think my bubble is starting to encroach on that building. Oh, big gap on that one. Boo. Boo. And it looks like we're going to make another pass there and hopefully make it. Right, so let's see if we can. Let's keep track of this. We're going over that same line again, right down the middle. Let's fill that air gap. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Shrek references, too? It's too much. It's too much. I got an excuse, though. I've got a daughter, you know? They force you to watch that. Almost stopped at the end of that turn. Maybe the last pass? What do you think? We gonna be able to cover it? The progress bar is pretty well gone up there. But I know that field wasn't done yet. But now it is. Let's go ahead and zoom out of that map. We're gonna make that 180 quick reply. Contact ground for completion. Once we get the nose pointed in the direction we want it to go into, something like that. We're going to go ahead and initiate a little bit of a sim rate increase. Let's go 2 times. Decreased. I'm going to go all the way down. Here we go, doing weird crap again. 1, 2, 3, 4 up. There's a little trick to get that done. We're going to make sure that our landing light is on. We're going to connect to ATC. All right. I don't want any fractions if I can. I want to see hundreds across the board. Maybe that another 125% if I can. Pull those off before. But if this triggers more search and rescue missions, Great. It's all about just trying it. Having fun in the process, right? How can you not love it? Only coming into this approach at around 100 knots, you know, typical. Everything seems to be following along pretty well with those quick replies that I'm doing. I don't think I want to come down that soon on the runway, though. Let's make an approach maybe around midfield, somewhere around that windsock. This is it. Is it going to do it? Oh, I thought it was about to crash again. Alright, we got the hold short up. We're on our way there. Landing lights are down. We probably need to bring that altitude into something more like a taxi. It's a good looking model. Once you get the sensitivities and curves right, it actually flies pretty good. I'm not angry with it. I would like to see trim, but it's doable. It's not like they don't fly them without SAS in real life, you know? They just might not do any hoisting with it. And if they do, you guys do hoisting without any trim? If you do, man, props to you. Alright, we got the hold short. It's still, oh, it got, ooh, look at that. That quick reply actually triggered the taxi without landing that time. Interesting. Normally it wants me to at least put a skid on the ground when I come down. We're down all the way. We're going to come into the cockpit. We're going to do our fast and dirty shutdown. Spin. Kill. 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 Ooh, yeah, not happy what's going on with this right now. Curious what the issue is. Shutting her down. Drum roll. More search and rescue? Or the same old not? That's the question. Here we go. Grade me. Show me what you're working with. What do you got? In my opinion, this is an S. (94, 144% on execution time. I don't know if I'm going to get the S out of that. Close, but no cigar. Quite a few XP points. Just barely missed it. I think I had one pass in there that should have been only done once. I had to go back and do it again. Oh, I don't know if I want to press the button or not. Here we go. Son of a biscuit. What the? This is a joke. I don't know what else to tell you guys. Look, it's the same damn mission. Nothing's changed. Not a thing. We spent 10 G's trying to go into a spot that was grayed out with no success. Probably need to be in an actual airline to make that work. And I'm not ready to start diving into an airline just yet. I want that money. I want that money right there to be in the millions before I do that. And that's my own personal choice. Maybe I'm going about it the wrong way. But it is what it is. I really appreciate everybody being here tonight. It's been a blast. It's been a ball. This has been a little bit of everything. But let's dive into one more thing before we dug out. The settings for the controls. So this is what I've got, right? And I'm going to go through basically what is on my cyclic throttle and show you a little bit about these curves and how I'm getting that smooth motion out of my flight. So when you're in these, once these load in a couple of days, if you go into a specific input and like your cyclic input, I'm just going to do a cyclic lateral, and then I'm going to use the cog wheel to the right and use this little guy, tweak action curve. This is flat for me. Okay? If you go back and you go in back one more time and you go into the throttle, I'm going to do the input. Nothing here is going to be curved at all, except for your rudder pedals. So when you do that and you go into the curves, I do something a little bit different. This one's not flat anymore. The sensitivity I have up to a 0.19 for both the positive and the negative. Neutral and dead zones, I have left it 0, but I have an extremity dead zone of 0.09. I'm not sure if you guys understand how this works, but it's about how much input your controller is feeling at the earliest part of your movement and the latest part of the movement. Okay? So let's see if I can't grab a little bit of an assistant here. And we're going to put a pointer up. So with this little arrow right here, all right, this goes up on a curve. So at the center, that's your dead stick. So you can see that if you were to flatten this out, right, and you were to bring this to 0, you can see that the reaction time of your controller stays consistent throughout the entire motion of your controller. Whereas if I go this way, the opposite of what you see on the left-hand side, now that action won't take place until later in the movement. If you do it on the other side of it, the action's going to have more input sooner. Excuse me. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so you kind of want to find that bell curve that works for you. And they're sensitive. Look at how little I'm doing to this, and I can't even get back to the 0.19. I have to come back in here and type it. And again, here we go with the 0.19. And it's reverting. Even though we see one here that is 0.19, it's not letting me put that value in there anymore. My controls are going to be barely different, but I do want to get them consistent. So we'll go with the 0.2 here as well. And it should accept that. All right. And the extremity dead zone is at the end of your movement. So when you bring your cyclic or your rudders all the way full input, that full input is actually going to be stopped before you put the full input into your actual control surface. Air Boss Man, good to see you, brother. Thank you for stopping by. It is so good to see you. If you people don't know who just stopped into my chat right now, let me give you a little bit of a hint. This guy right here is the one that taught me how to do some things. It's my boy. Right? This is the DLSS Hack King. So good to see you, boss man. Thank you for stopping by. Super happy to see you, man. Great to see you. You've changed my sim, man. I appreciate you. Shout out Air Boss Man. Thanks for stopping in. Really good to see you. Just teaching some people how to use their curves on their controllers and sharing the love. Hopefully that helps with a little bit of the control inputs and sensitivities right there. That's kind of how I have mine set up. I didn't do anything to my cyclic, like I said. Again, that curve is just nice and flat. Come back into that T16000M, cyclic control, search by input. You can push that thing right there, go to the cogwheel, look at your curve, and you can change these. And this is going to be different for every single simmer's individual feel. Right? So with that, with the greatest conclusion to a stream I think I've ever had, because Air Boss Man decided to stop in and say hi at the perfect timing. Great stream. Didn't really get a lot accomplished, but we did kind of venture into some of the things that we didn't see happen in the update. And I think it was fun. I had a lot of fun doing it. Once again, CPU specs are nothing special at all, in my opinion. The graphics card that I have is my downfall. That 2080 Ti may be doing all right, but pushing those ultras just isn't as smooth as I'd like it to be. So that is the thing on my list of things to do. Increase that GPU performance and go from there. So Air Boss Man, you literally caught me at the end of a stream, man. But I appreciate you coming back again and again. Thank you for all that you've done. Hopefully sent a lot of traffic your way. You got some subscriptions out of it. Really, truly appreciate what you do. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a blast. It's been a ball. We're still comparing 2020 to 24. It's a 3.9 gigabyte update that I didn't really see any difference with. We'll see what happens tomorrow, because we'll probably be back at this again, and we need to figure out where we're going to do our fly-in. So let's talk about that tomorrow. Thanks for joining me, guys. We'll see you soon.